Welcome to the 2024 POFPS Annual Business Meeting. I call this meeting to order. Before we start, some general housekeeping items to note. If you're in the room and would like to comment or ask a question, please step up to a floor microphone or simply wave your hand around and somebody will bring something to you so that you can speak into a microphone. For those of you joining online, you can type a question into the chat or come off mute and ask to be recognized. And I can't currently see who's online, but I will assume some of you are out there, and I would like to thank you for joining us remotely. And certainly to all of you, it's nice to see some friendly faces and new friends in the audience here today. So let's get started. First, I would like POFPS past President Jessica Masser, DO, to give an invocation.
All right. Will you please bow your head with me? Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our lunch and for being able to gather together today with the common goal of improving the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physician Society. May we offer blessings for one another in addition to our board and our officers. May we achieve the business of this meeting in a timely fashion and remember our goal of improving osteopathic family medicine in Pennsylvania, ultimately for the benefit of the patients we serve. Amen.
I'm a fan of that timely fashion part. So thank you so much, Dr. Masser, for doing that. First order of business is the consideration of the August 4th, 2023 business meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the August 4th, 2023 business meeting minutes. Thanks. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Corrections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, so this is my moment, I guess. For those of you who have not heard any of the newsletters or don't know who I am Jackie Weaver Agostoni. I go by Dr. Weaver at work. It is not the whole mouthful. Jackie's also totally fine. And I have had the privilege and honor of serving as your president for the last year to sub in for Dr. Peter Biddy, who had a promotion at work and could not carry on with his position with us. So to explain why I'm getting sworn in again today as president, I wanted to level set to remind us all this was actually Dr. Biddy's year. So I have been very honored to get to serve you a year early, albeit the shock a week before the meeting last year of finding that out was really something. So I feel slightly more mentally prepared now to go into my term. And I also very much want to acknowledge the other officers who have been willing to sort of do their roles for an extra year as well to hopefully serve you all as best we can. I've had many honors and things I've gotten to do in my life that I'm very thankful for. Certainly becoming a fellow of ACOFP was one of those. Being named as a program director of my residency was one of those as well. But I hold this organization extremely dear to my heart, and it has been a true honor and privilege to have been selected to be able to do this. So I cannot thank you enough. I also wanted to thank any of the past presidents, as well as the Board of Trustees members that have been involved with this organization, because certainly we continue to build upon the amazing structure that you built for us. And we couldn't have done any of this without all of you. So thank you so much for people that have served in this organization prior to us. We've done quite a few things this year. We've gotten the website up and running. I hope that you've all had the opportunity to look at our new website. I think that's been a lovely addition, as well as the video newsletters, which we continue to plan on doing, much to my chagrin. So I will continue to find locations in my house and things to put on to do those newsletters for you. We've also added a medical student trustee to our board, which I think, joins our resident member as well as the rest of our Board of Trustees, which I think was a lovely new addition to acknowledge the value that the students bring to our organization. And I also wanted to welcome all of our visitors in the room who are students who joined us this morning for the student conference that we hosted downstairs. You certainly are the future of our profession, and we need to act with your needs in mind as well. So thank you so much for coming. We also spent this year trying to be fiscally responsible and sound, which is a total bore to some of us. finances is like one of those necessary evils, but I do think that we've ended up in a good position. We'll certainly hear more from Dr. Lynn Wilson in a bit about the specifics of that, but we have started looking at new investment strategies for the money that we actually have. And hopefully that will continue to grow our funds in ways, given that the cost of things continues to skyrocket, which I know you have all appreciated with the cost of the conference increasing, for which we do. I apologize that we've had to do that. But I do think that the value we bring you hopefully continues to serve your purposes. As we continue to emerge from the pandemic, which certainly changed us all in different ways. I know I am not the same person that I used to be. I am much less type A now. It beat it right out of me. You could not have been a program director and succeeded in that time of crisis with trying to be a rigid person. So for those of you who don't know me very well, I will tell you that I am a program director. That is my main job. So I run a residency program that has osteopathic recognition in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been doing that job for about 5 years, and I've been on staff at UPMC Shadyside for about 17. So I like stability. I like to be a part of something, and this organization is no different. I also wear a lot of other hats, including being chair of our accreditation review and quality committee for the system. So I help oversee all of the trainee programs for UPMC. And I do lots of other things that are completely out of my head right now. But suffice it to say that my expertise is in the area of education. So that is definitely where my passions lie. And that's what I'm very talented at is education. That being said, you are not all educators. And some of you have private practices for which I am incredibly impressed forever and ever. Some of you belong to groups. Some of you have multi-specialty practices. Some of you work for hospitals. And I am not a formal person by nature, which is why my script is written out. I can't remember what needs second, motioned, approved, whatever. I will follow those rules because our organization wants us to do that. But what I'm telling all of you is that if you have needs from this organization, you have me and our current board for the next 2 years in terms of leadership, and I would love to hear from you. So if there are things that you need from this organization that we have not yet done or creative ideas you have, we have the patient safety credits now. We have this conference which we continue to try to adapt based on your feedback. I am a huge proponent that we only get better by listening to people's feedbacks and your needs. So if you have questions, I would offer up this organization as your place to go to ask those osteopathic family medicine questions. Even if they're not DO related questions and you just have questions in general about anything that relates to your practice or your patients, please use us as that organization. I would love to see this organization continue to be strong and to continue to grow. And I think as we emerge from the pandemic and all those changes that we've had to undertake, you know, we have lost people who used to come in person to this conference. There are a lot of competing priorities now. There are a lot of other things that we've adapted over time, including a bunch of online CME that a lot of our systems will give us. We have systems now that won't give you CME because they expect you to get it through your system. And, you know, we need to continue to be a hub, in my opinion, for each other to network, to have friends, to have mentors, to have people you can bounce ideas off of, and just to be friends with. Some of my great friends in this profession are in this room right now, and I see them at ACUFP, and I see them at other conferences, and I see them in education conferences. So I will rely and ask all of you to please step up if you want to help. If you want to be on a committee and you want to serve in this organization in a way that you've never had the opportunity, you do not need to be on our board to do that. You just need to come see me. Please talk to us, ask questions. I want to be your resource for those things, as does this organization. So those are the things I feel passionately about. And as we come out of this, I also wanted to mention that we have now started up a new POFPS sponsored osteopathic family medicine collaborative. So for those of you in education who used to have an OPTI, where you were part of a medical school and you would meet and you would talk about ideas and you would share resources and you wouldn't keep recrafting the will because somebody down the street already made a good one. We want to be that again. And we want to fulfill that role that disappeared with the unified accreditation and all of those things. Since again, my passion lies in education and osteopathic medicine. That's something that we're going to strive to recreate. So if you or one of your colleagues works in medical education, does teaching, does precepting, wants to get more involved with those ideas and to, be that repository of knowledge again, please let them know that we're doing this. And we would love to include them in our ventures. And our next meeting, I believe, is tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning. Show up. You have any interest in hearing what we're talking about or trying to recreate or do, just come join us, 8 o'clock. No need to sign up, just show up. Also, I would ask for all of you to please complete the survey. We're looking at this conference. Do we want to keep doing it the same way? Do we want to, continue to have the remote sessions on Sunday, which I think worked well for some and less well for others? And there's always pros and cons to every change, but we are certainly reevaluating everything we do here. So if you could please fill out that survey before you leave this conference and put it in the box out on the desk, that would be very much appreciated. And with that long-winded thing, I conclude my speech. So thank you again for allowing me to be in this position to finish up Dr. Biddy's term this year. And I continue to look forward to serve you for the next couple. All right, next up, I believe we have the treasurer's report.
Right. So thank you, Dr. Weaver Agostoni. It's an honor to have served as the Secretary Treasurer for the organization for the last year. I would really like to take a moment to thank all of our exhibitors. Their participation really helps offset some of the expenses that we were just talking about for this symposium. So if you have a minute and you haven't gotten to interact with them, please go out, thank them for coming, interact with them. It's really helpful. As Dr. Weaver Agostoni said, a lot of finances have been in flux. Prices and costs continue to rise. POFPS has been running a deficit the last few years, in part because of these rising costs, as well as holding both in-person and virtual sessions for this symposium. This has really created some budget challenges. And so as Dr. Weaver Agostoni said, we did have to ultimately make the difficult decision to raise the price of the symposium, as well as make some changes in our investment company and our investment strategy moving forward to continue to prolong the fiscal part of this organization. We, as your elected officers and trustees, will continue to maintain good financial stewardship while ensuring the quality of POFPS continues to have high quality educational programming for all of you. All of us as officers and trustees are available to answer any questions you may have about the budget or about the finances of the organization. All right. There's no questions or additional comments. I give the floor back to Dr. Weaver Agostoni. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Let me now proudly welcome the ASUFP president, a fellow Pennsylvanian who now resides in North Carolina, and the first LECOM grad to hold the title of ASUFP president, Brian Kessler, DO, FACOFP Distinguished.
Well, thank you, Dr. Weaver Agostoni. It's so nice to be back home, such to speak, and it's interesting, being in the central part of the state. I told the board yesterday that I grew up and went to high school in Altoona. So this whole area is very familiar, and Hershey is a special place in my heart because this is one of those things that we all did as family vacations. So it's nice to be back. I have the privilege of representing all of the family physicians across the nation, and it's because of organizations like that that make us strong. And, you know, one of the fortunate things that I get to see as president of a national organization is really see the grassroots of individual organizations like Pennsylvania, how you really impact the public and the patients that you serve. And it's so heartwarming just to see to see old friends, new friends, and really what this society has done. And I think from the ACOFP standpoint, you know, Pennsylvania has always been a strong representation, both locally and nationally. So we really thank you. I had the opportunity, and I will try not to bore you with some slides. I think if they. So maybe you have me for 45 minutes just ad-libbing up here, so I apologize about that. You know, many of you had the opportunity, hopefully, to see or come to New Orleans, and I thank all of you. It was just a wonderful event. You know, each year the ACOFP has the opportunity to present at their national conference some of the CME. And one of the things that I think that you're also blessed here is with really good CME advocacy. And those are the things that we like to really continue to advocate on your behalf. Some of the things that we're starting to do from our standpoint, we have a new website that we'll be launching. We're going through a soft launch now. And we'll see that hopefully that'll help you kind of obtain some of the CME and, you know, opportunities for you to really engage with the national organization. But I would also encourage you to look at in the coming up in 2025, our upcoming convention in Palm Springs. If you haven't been to Palm Springs and things like that, it's a wonderful location, a lot to do. It's very scenic and things with that too. I apologize, it's a little bit of a hike away from Pennsylvania on the West Coast. But as you know, many of us in terms to find locations, we kind of swap between East, West Coast, and, you know, the central part of the state. But again, we have slated a lot of CME with that. Some of the things that have happened over the past year that we've tried to do better is in terms of membership engagement. And with membership engagement at the New Orleans, one of the things that we found is really how to continue to engage students, residents, and young leaders. We actually started a think tank at our convention in New Orleans, and it was reminiscent of Shark Tank. And this gave students the opportunity to pitch different types of ideas to a group of individuals of how to engage student and student members. And I will tell you, we really found some great ideas out of that, and we're actually going to continue to leverage that. We had that opportunity, and fortunately, we received a grant through our allopathic brethren to the family physicians on that side to do that. And because we were so successful with that, they've actually given us additional money to continue that. I think it's within hopes that we'll share some of the secret sauce, but I'll tell you, we'll give them a little bit of that and continue to kind of engage with the membership and the students. And we are very fortunate that we've had a lot of representation from the student membership here in Pennsylvania. You're blessed with 2 established institutions, one in Philadelphia and one in Erie and Greensburg, with really 2 others coming up on the pipeline. And we know that both in Pittsburgh and with Duquesne and Indiana and IUP. So I think in terms of that engagement, and individuals like your current president and many of you who served in the educational realm, we're really thankful for that. It's also given ACOFP nationally an opportunity to engage with the students and the residents. And so in terms of that, so thank you with this. I think in terms of the slide set and things with that too, I don't know, but you can see here in terms of the promoting excellence, this is the face page of our new website. So if you get a chance and things like that, when we launch the operations of that, you know, hopefully it'll be a little bit more intuitive. We're hoping that you'll have some opportunity. And there's also opportunities for this organization to participate with the local level in terms of CME and other advocacy events. Next slide, please. So in terms of ACOFP 365, hopefully you've had an opportunity to look at this. It's an app. Part of this gives you up-to-date online platform of what's happening within the ACOFP. It gives you in terms of the CME events, some of the advocacy events and things like that. I would encourage you, those of you who like to put stuff on your phone. I not so much. My children tell me that I'm probably out of date with that, but I will tell you it's been very helpful in kind of keeping up to date and understanding what your colleagues and things. Next slide, please. OMT total, if those of you are renewing your membership and things, this is one of the benefits that is included in the 2024 membership benefits. OMT total for, it's really a nice panel for those of you who are continuing to do manipulation in your practice, which I hope you're continuing to mentor other students and residents as you move forward. But this is a really nice synopsis of some of the OMT procedurals and things that give you an idea in terms of a quick synopsis. So really either as a review or just in terms of for your own edification. Next slide, please. So the other thing is in terms of your 2024 membership, those of you who may or may not use, one of the things that we've been also able to do is negotiate a membership discount with UpToDate. Those of you in the educational realm and things, we find this very useful in terms of clinical practices, best practices and things. So for those practicing physicians, I know it's a 15% discount. And for residents, if need be, it's a 70% discount. So we hope that you have that opportunity to use that. Next slide, please. Education opportunities updates. 50%, you can see there in terms of the summer CME, some of the CME events that we've offered from the past convention, ongoing in terms of current modules and things. Go ahead and use that discount code. I know that we're wrapping up a 3-year cycle as well as here in Pennsylvania. I too hold a Pennsylvania license. So for those outside of the state, sometimes a little bit more difficult to get some of the modules in Pennsylvania, but this is a nice way to also supplement if you're looking for last minute CME. Next slide, please. Again, 40 hours of CME. If those of you who have not been able to attend New Orleans, in terms of that, I think there's a lot of great CME content still available with that. Please take a look at that. If you'd like to look at some of the modules, I know that we're continuing to offer that. You can go to the next slide. This is one of the things that I think that we're very proud of in terms of what we've been able to offer. Is the opioid, rethinking opioids and the non-opioid. I will tell you personally, going through this, and I know from DEA requirement and things, many of us have, had inundated in terms of opioid and some of the requirements that we have to do for our own licensure. But if you need a refresher, and I know that a lot of us are probably getting inundated with this, but I've felt that these modules and things are very well done and very put together. It's August 12th in terms of when that's ice, so it's right around the corner and things like that. So if you have any opportunity, you still want to do that, I would encourage you to go through this CME event. The bundles on there again, diabetes, you can see substance use disorder, hypertension and things, and there's several other in terms of COVID, dermatology and things like that. Again, easy access, and it'll be relevant, hopefully, to a lot of you that are sitting in the audience. And we too encourage you to look at that, and there will be more to come in terms of the new webpage. This is education needs assessment. So if you have a chance, we actually have Amazon gift cards available. So if you want to take a picture of the QRS code and things, this is how we kind of engage the membership to look at what we look for CME and some of our educational updates and platforms. So if you have any desire to do that, and I'm sure that we'll be able to share these slides with you in the future. Advocacy, one of the things that I think that this organization, that many of you don't know, we actually partner with a firm out of Washington, D.C., Austin and Byrd, and have spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill in terms of advocating on your behalf and the rest of the individuals across the nation. In this political climate, we won't sit here and talk about the political climate because I probably could be up here for 3 hours just talking about that. But I think it's very important that you see that many of the representation, both from the family physicians as well as other advocacy group. I know that Dr. Gimple represents the MBOME and he's sitting in the audience, and you have other individuals, the AOA. But, from an ACOFP platform, from a family physician, I think, we do very well, and we have very great representation with that sitting within the Capitol. Many of us spend some time when we go there. In fact, I'll be there 2 weeks to kind of go up on the Hill and talk with various leaders about some of the issues that are affecting family physicians. If there's something in particular that it's affecting you on a state level, please let us know. I know that if from an executive director, there's monthly meetings, but we also have advocacy and liaisons between the state societies and the national representation. So we'll continue to champion that. One of the things that we're very proud of, I'm sure that some of you who went to the House of Delegates, West Virginia went through an issue in terms of consolidating their licensing board. And ACFP, as well as several of the other organizations, were very proud of kind of signing on to opposing that. And that actually was part of the issue of not combining those boards. So I think we felt very good about some of our advocacy, and we continue to do that. So if you find something from state level and things like that, please let us know, and we'll continue to help advocate on that part. Foundation, we have our own very own Dr. Henwood, who sits on the foundation, and I know Dr. Henwood has just been a blessing for the foundation. And I know if she hasn't stopped you, she will, and she'll probably be asking you to contribute to the foundation. I know that all of us are very proud of that, and thank you, Dr. Henwood, for your service for that. But foundation has done a lot for a lot of the individuals, residents and students and everyone. We're very proud of what the foundation has offered to getting our residents into taking their board certification, as well as the educational opportunities. And I just want to take a moment to thank Dr. Henwood and thank you for your service. It's nice when you come into leadership, you know, at I think presumably younger age, and you're kind of full of yourself and thinking that you can run the things. And by the time you get to leadership and you learn from great individuals, you know, I've been very fortunate in this world. It's been very humbling in that sense. So thank you to you, and many of you are in leadership positions. Initial certification grant, this is something that's come out of the foundation. As you can see in terms of the state representation on there, Pennsylvania is very well represented. We actually had a discussion with the board last night. Many of your residents from the state have been recipients of this, so I would encourage you to continue to do that, so there are funds that are available. So thank you for all that you're doing in terms of educating and really getting the next generation of individuals to really embrace osteopathic medicine and become osteopathically board certified. FM residency, you can see again in terms of there's a QS code for that board certification, so that if you have an opportunity, you know, of a resident things that may be at an institution that doesn't necessarily encourage them to do osteopathic certification, please share this with them. There are funds available for them to kind of receive that as well. In terms of engagement, there's a lot of opportunity in terms of educational opportunities, whether it's blog, putting stuff in our journal, writing an article. If you have any inclination of writing something, that I would say both from practicing physician all the way down to students and things, we would encourage you to do so. I think this is a great opportunity. Those are you're in training opportunities. This is also a peer-reviewed opportunity. So this also sometimes meets the ACGME requirements. And I would encourage you to do that as well. Auxiliary. If it wasn't for the auxiliary, I will tell you, they are sometimes really the blessing behind the operation. And the auxiliary has just been a significant support to us for as long as I've known them, and they continue to support this profession, both in action and deed and word. And I'm just very blessed to see that representation continue to grow. So if you have loved ones, friends, family, and things like that, that would like to support this profession, that not necessarily osteopathic physicians, but continue to be a part of this profession, this is also a wonderful opportunity to serve in that capacity. Here, in terms of leadership development, we had a little bit of talk about trying to continue to do leadership. I think that's something that ACFP does very well in terms of engaging students and residents and new physicians in practice and leadership. We actually went through a board restructuring to try to do a better job of different representation on the board. And I would encourage you to continue that. If you find individuals that want to participate in this, I know that we have many of you that have gone through these various programs, but I would encourage you to continue to participate with that. Our annual report, if you want something to kind of help you sleep at night, please pull that out. I'd be sure to help mail you a copy of that. It's only $29.95 for that. You know, no, but intense. This kind of gives you an idea of where we've been and what we're doing and where we're continuing to head forward. No, there's no cost to it, so you can strike that. But you know, this is something that I think again shows where the organization nationally is continuing to represent the family physicians. And then recognition and awards and things. This, I think Pennsylvania's done a great job. You have many individuals that have probably come up on this stage in various venues and things, and many of the predecessors that have just represented this state in many of these categories. I know that you're continuing to nominate, but if there's individuals that you think that fill any of these award categories, please continue to nominate these individuals. And, you know, it just shows very well how strong this group is here within Pennsylvania. Fellow and Distinguished Award, I'd be remiss if I didn't come up here and encourage everybody that are eligible to become a fellow. And if you have the opportunity to mentor somebody to become a fellow, or those of you who are already a fellow, if you meet the criteria, please become a distinguished fellow. This is, you know, definitely an honor in our profession, and it's something to be held with pride and distinction. So I would continue to advocate for those of it to mentor others and encourage others to become fellows of our profession. And again, to wrap up, Palm Springs, April 2025. If you get a chance, you know, right now, hopefully as the summer bustle comes in, look at tickets, try to get out there. The venue is going to be held at 3 different hotels, really to fit the needs, but all within walking distance of the various venues and things with that too. So very family friendly and things with that. So I hope that you would enjoy that and find the time to come out and come to see us in Palm Springs. We are celebrating our 75th anniversary, and I think that's something to be very proud of. As the profession's celebrating 150th, I know the MBOME is celebrating a milestone as well, but we're very proud to be celebrating the 75th anniversary, and we'd love to see you there and celebrate with us. And that is my 45-minute report, hopefully in 15 minutes. I didn't bore you with that. If there's any questions, if I'm allowed, if not, I'm still around here until tomorrow, and I'd be happy to entertain whatever. So thank you for allowing me to represent you on a national level. I'm very happy to do that, especially being, you know, a graduate of this great state and also doing part of my residency in this state. There's always a kindred spirit here, and we'll go from there. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Kessler, and thanks to the ACUFP and ACUFP Foundation for all of your support of the POFPS and all osteopathic family physicians. You know, my residents have certainly reaped the benefit of the foundation's work in encouraging osteopathic board certification. So if any of you work with residents and have not engaged with that process, please come talk to me. I would love to encourage you to get your residents to take the osteopathic family medicine board as well. Next, let me please welcome, it's my privilege to welcome POMA President William Swallow, DO. Dr. Swallow is an osteopathic family physician and member of POFPS. POFPS contracts with POMA to provide association management services. Both organizations work collectively to enhance the practice of osteopathic medicine in Pennsylvania. Dr. Swallow.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver Agostini, for your most gracious invitation to me to appear before this wonderful group. Greetings all. I'm to provide an update on POMA, and POMA is constantly busy doing many things. But the first of which I'd like to report to you is our participation in the House of Delegates in Chicago just a couple of weeks ago. The House was well represented by POMA. POMA has the 3rd largest delegation in the AOA. Too close. 3rd only to Michigan and Florida. And if we had 5 more members in POMA, we would be 2nd. That's how close we are. But we had 47 delegates and alternate delegates appear. Every alternate delegate, student and resident who are part of the delegation donated to OPAC. It's another year that POMA is 100% for OPAC. The House sessions were both lively and at times intense. Numerous resolutions were discussed and discussed and discussed and were passed in order to support you, the members of the AOA, and protect your practices, whether you're in private practice or employed. Interesting to note that 72% to 78% of osteopathic physicians are employed nationally. In addition to the resolutions, reports were entertained by the leadership of AOA and the heads of the departments. Ira Munka, DO, now the immediate past president, gave his farewell address, including heartfelt gratitude to his wife, Esty. He is truly a remarkable osteopathic physician. Officers and trustees of the AOA were elected. Teresa Hubka, DO, is the new AOA president, and she is only the second female AOA president in its history. Also, I see in the audience, Frank Tercy, DO, was reelected to another 3-year term as trustee. Congratulations to Frank. And finally, our former CEO, CSO, Diana Ewert, received the Bobby Jones Award, the CAE Award. And congratulations to Diana. And seeing her out there in Chicago, she appears to be enjoying her retirement. So, but POMA is busy in Pennsylvania. In fact, the week before going to Chicago, in 4 days, I attended 8 committee meetings. The trustees, the members, the staff are very busy. Our GAC committee, Government Affairs Committee, is very active right now. They're enjoying a recess by our state legislature. But some issues are being resolved. The most important issue that is not resolved yet is the nurse practitioners legislation. And I urge you to contact your local legislator, whether it be House or Senate, and discuss with them the need to defeat that legislation to provide, for us to provide the highest quality of care to the patients, even in remote areas. Okay, let me see where we are. Well, one of the other things about POMA, and I'm sure you're very familiar with this individual, but to replace Ms. Ewert, we hired one of our own as the new CEO of POMA, and that's Mr. Andy Sandusky. I know he's familiar to you as far as I know. You do know who he is. And Andy, where are you? Thank you, Andy. I'll tell you, he hit the ground running. There is not one part of POMA that he has not become familiar with. And he has taken the time to interact and meet with the staff one-on-one. He is getting together with past presidents. He was a presence at the House of Delegates. And I think the search committee made a very good choice in hiring Andy as our new CEO. So I don't know what POFPS is going to do without him, but film at 11 on that one. All righty. GAC committee, the education committee, we had a very successful assembly at Kalahari. It was well attended. I believe we approached almost 1,300. Which is up from last year. The lectures were excellent, and the events held in conjunction with the assembly were very well attended and very enthusiastic. I would encourage you to attend OMED. That's this coming September from the 20th to the 22nd in San Antonio. You can check out the AOA website for that. I know ACOFP will be there for their component of the OMED. And Coming up with POMA, we have the white coat ceremonies coming up. We have the stethoscope ceremonies coming up. And we have added, as I'm sure you're aware, the Duquesne University School of Osteopathic Medicine incorporated their first class. I think there's around 90 there. And we're looking forward to working with them as they add their classes and as they move forward in the osteopathic profession. Our foundation is a very vibrant foundation. They have numerous programs, one of which is a sketchy program. I don't know if you're familiar, perhaps those of you who are recently graduated from the osteopathic schools in Pennsylvania, but the sketchy program has to do with the first and second years, whereby it is an educational aid to assist the students in preparing for their national boards in their second year. So that's about it. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. One of the things, since I was away a couple of years, not being able to attend the symposium that POFPS has put on in excellent fashion over the past years. But it was a pleasure to be able to sit down with old friends, make some new friends, and network with the people here. That's something that we can't do virtually. And I think it's something that we really need to take at hand and consider the value of getting together personally and share with our colleagues of every generation involved, both in POFPS as well as with POMA. One of the things we're doing in POMA is I've established a task force in secondary education and undergraduate education with respect to the osteopathic profession. In other words, this group of people who is composed of trustees, our resident physician, Mohit Chatpar, DO, and our OMS2 board member, Tia Patillo, OMS2 from PCOM, and they will be forming programs, whether it be by a movie kind of format or a PowerPoint, but to take to the high schools, to take to the colleges, and educate the people in osteopathic medicine. The story I like to relate to that is our oldest granddaughter, who, when she was 16, sat down next to us at Christmas time, my wife and I, and she said, "Pop, I know what I want to be when I get older." And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "I want to be a forensic pathologist." Now, I don't know where a 16-year-old gets that, because you're talking about Quincy again, or similarity. But she did. So what did Grandma and Grandpa do? We took her to PCOM and introduced her to Greg McDonald. Greg took her under his wing. And Greg McDonald had several scenarios set up on the campus. And she had a wonderful time, further felt very strongly to go to PCOM to become an osteopathic physician. Well, when she left for college, she had a partial scholarship to Frostburg and then ended up down at Radford, where she graduated this past December, summa cum laude. But she decided to take a gap year. And one of the things that happened was she evidently, well, she got a part-time job at a hospital doing venipuncture and various services. And in a discussion that we had one time, she said, "I can't go to a DO school." And I said, "Why is that?" "Because I can't become the physician specialist that I wish to become." So we went around on that quite a bit. Needless to say, the osteopathic profession and my family lost a good deal. So that's why the task force is formed. We need to get to the youth as early as conceivably possible. High school level, undergraduate level, and let them know that if you want to be a top shelf physician in Pennsylvania or the country for that matter, we need to get to these kids early. Otherwise, we lose them. So that's why the task force. The other task force that we're forming at POMA is in student financial support, whereby the foundation and POMA itself will form a fund where we can provide financial assistance to the students in the 4 campuses right now, soon to be a 5th in the Commonwealth, to encourage them to stay in Pennsylvania, to take residencies in Pennsylvania. And ACOM has a statistic where 62% of Pennsylvania DO residents, 62% stay in the Commonwealth. So that's the intent. We want to keep our students, keep them in residencies in Pennsylvania, and encourage them to practice in Pennsylvania. So we restore the quality care that our patients in the Commonwealth deserve. So that's about it from POMA. Does anybody have any questions? Again, thank you for your attention. And again, thank you, Dr. Weaver Agostini.
Thank you, Dr. Swallow. On some of those thoughts, as I reminisce about my career and what I've done so far, I completely attribute the fact that I am an osteopathic female family physician in the state of Pennsylvania for all of the cool things I've gotten to do. So I am a huge believer in osteopathic medicine and getting you where you want to be. Also, a few other thank yous before we move on with this program. You know, as I mentioned, all of us sort of got thrust into our leadership positions in this organization a week before last year's conference. And so I wanted to also thank Dr. Rohanna for being thrust into the education role for this conference and helping put together what I think is a stellar conference for this year. And I hope that you're all enjoying the topics and that they're pertinent to your careers. So thank you to Dr. Rohanna. That was sort of like, you're vice president and surprise, you're in charge of education. So that I thought worked out really well. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank my family, which they're used to me doing this, but my husband and daughter. So my daughter just graduated from high school. She is my only one. She's going to Pitt, so she'll be in my hometown still, but she'll be living on campus. Everybody wants to know that. And she's decided to pursue a PharmD. So she's doing their 6-year PharmD. She wants to do clinical pharmacy, she thinks, because I work way too hard. So a huge thank you to my family for putting up with the many nights of them watching TV while I pretend like I'm watching TV, but I'm actually doing work on my computer. So they are currently at the park enjoying themselves. So thank you to them. And lastly, a thank you to my colleagues at work, because without them covering all of my stuff when I come to these things, I wouldn't be here. And it was a year early and a year extra. So a huge thank you to my UPMC Shadyside faculty and residents who are there putting up with the extra stuff I jam into my already full life, which I love controlled chaos. So there we have it. Next up, we have 2 awards to present this year. And this is an exciting part. Before I acknowledge the award recipients, I wanted to also very much thank the people who nominated the people who are getting the awards. That takes extra time, energy, and you usually get no recognition for the work you put into nominating people for these awards. But this is some of the nicest things we can do for our colleagues, is to acknowledge their efforts and things that they do above and beyond that we don't get to usually tell them. So please consider nominating people for next year. I think it's already open. You can always submit a name to us for an award consideration. We would love to entertain more of those, and thank you for nominating people. So it is my honor to present the Community Physician Award, given in recognition of service to their patients and community. The award, created just a few years ago, honors an osteopathic family physician who is at the heart and soul of the community. An osteopathic family physician who may not be involved in the state or national organizations, but who is essential to their patients and their community. This year's awardee is a 1998 graduate of PCOM and completed her residency at St. Luke's Hospital, Allentown campus. For many years, this skilled and compassionate physician worked in an often hectic and extremely busy urgent care center. She was never flustered and never rushed her patients in and out the door. She always took the time to listen to their stories and perform an in-depth, hands-on physical exam, something that is sadly frequently truncated in modern medicine. Even if their encounter was with an acute illness or injury, she tried to address their social determinants of health or gaps in their preventive care. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she treated hundreds of patients with respiratory symptoms, whether she was personally administering nasal swabs in our drive-through testing tent or coordinating ER consults or monoclonal antibody therapy from the bedside. Her physician assistant colleagues consistently sought her advice regarding complex patients and diabetic management. She recently joined Lewistown Community Health Center in Mifflin, PA, because she felt a calling to return to her community to serve those in need of a primary care provider. Those who call her their family doctor should feel incredibly lucky. It is my pleasure to present the 2024 Community Physician Award to Patricia Fairley Dio.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure who nominated me. I have a suspicion, though. Dr. Perrine, perhaps. I just have to thank him for being such a wonderful medical director at Patient First, where I spent a few years, thanks to a restrictive covenant situation. That lecture kind of hit home earlier on the legal end. I was the victim of a situation there. But anyway, I got to commute for about 60 miles for a couple years down to Patient First and work with Dr. Perrine, which was wonderful. Of course, it all happened during COVID, and being in an urgent care during COVID was challenging. But as we all, COVID changed my life as well. But I am glad to be back home to Mifflin County, where there's a great need. And but I do miss my colleagues at Patient First. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I thank everyone for what they do.
Okay, the next award will be the Raymond J. Saloom Dio Memorial Award. In recognition of untiring efforts to promote the art of family medicine and preserve the integrity of the osteopathic profession, the POFPS honors one of its members with the Raymond J. Saloom Dio Memorial Award. This year, we recognize a physician who is active at the local, state, and national levels, as well as an outstanding educator for many years. A graduate of Mercyhurst College and Allegheny College and the Philadelphia School of Osteopathic Medicine in 1984, he is board certified in family medicine and osteopathic manipulative medicine, a fellow of the ACUFP, and a regional dean for the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, as well as the clinical director for the LECOM Primary Care Scholar Pathways Program. They educate and push their students in tenets of osteopathic medicine and promote OMT. They organize the ability to bring LECOM students to this conference every year to network and grow the profession for the early days of osteopathic education. Additionally, they were also the school physician for Girard School District and worked in the state prison system providing compassionate care to inmates. They have served regularly as a delegate to both the ACUFP Congress of Delegates and the AOA House of Delegates. They are a POFPS past president and served on POFPS Education Committee for numerous years. In great service to his patients and community, he received additional training as an HIV specialist, then returned to Northwest Pennsylvania to work as the HIV medical director at Orion White Clinic for many years at the early stages of the AIDS epidemic. He treated many HIV patients and served as their primary care physician. Whilst many physicians did not want to treat HIV, he knew that these patients needed a physician who would treat them with sound medical management, but also one who would treat them with compassion, respect, and dignity. He utilized OMT on his HIV patients. Without further ado, I am proud to present the 2024 Raymond J. Saloom Dio Memorial Award to Richard J. Ortosky, Dio, FACOFP.
Thank you very much for this honor. I'd like to accept it in behalf of all mentors and preceptors that take our students and basically give them their craft, the education of their craft. And I'd like to thank my students for teaching me every day. And sometimes it's welcomed and sometimes it's fairly welcomed, but thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Appreciate it.
One of my professors from Lecon. Okay, let's see. Thank you for all you do for our patients in the osteopathic family medicine profession. That's to all of you. And again, the POFPS award nominations are open all year and begin now. So if somebody just popped into your head and you're like, oh, they'd be a great award winner for this, please consider nominating them. We'll take those throughout the year. And if you know someone deserving, please submit your nomination on the POFPS website. Okay, now we're to the other stuff. Next order of business is the POFPS Board Officer and Trustee nominations and elections for 2024. The officers are elected for a term of 2 years. The trustees from Maryland and Delaware are also elected for a 2-year term. The Pennsylvania Board Trustees are elected for a 4-year term. The student and resident trustee are nominated and elected prior to this meeting for a 1-year term. The list of nominees was shared with the membership over 30 days prior to today's meeting. First, the Office of POFPS Vice President. The nominating committee nominates Christine Rohanna, DO from Evansburg. Are there any other nominations for Vice President? Hearing none, nominations for Vice President are now closed. I will entertain a motion to elect Dr. Rohanna as Vice President for a term of 2 years. Second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, congratulations, Dr. Rohanna. Next will be the Office of POFPS Secretary Treasurer. The nominated committee nominee is Lynn Wilson, DO of Allentown. Are there any other nominations for Secretary Treasurer? Hearing none, nominations are closed. May I have a motion to elect Dr. Wilson to be Secretary Treasurer for a term of 2 years? Thank you. Second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor vote aye. Against vote nay. Congratulations, Dr. Wilson. Was I supposed to aye nay for Christina too? Okay, I told you, I'm not good at this formal stuff. Okay. Next will be the election of the POFPS trustee from Delaware. The nominated committee nominee is Hillary S. Hack from Millsboro, Delaware. Are there any other nominations for the Delaware trustee? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. May I have a motion to elect Dr. Hack to trustee from Delaware for a term of 2 years? Second? Excellent, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor vote aye. All against nay. Congratulations, Dr. Hack. Hack, sorry. Hack, out there somewhere. Okay, next will be the election of the POFPS trustee from Maryland. The nominating committee nominee is Kathleen Henley, DO from Berlin, Maryland. Are there any nominations otherwise for trustee from Maryland? Hearing none. Nominations for trustee from Maryland are now closed. May I have a motion to elect Dr. Henley as trustee from Maryland for a term of 2 years? Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor vote aye. Against vote nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations, Dr. Henley. The next elections are for the 6 POFPS board trustees elected for a term of 4 years. The nominating committee vetted the list of nominees and posted the recommended nominations online for your review prior to this meeting. Here are the nominees: Michael Becker, DO, Philadelphia, PA; Jeffrey Gold, DO, Ole, PA; Kathleen Lewis, DO, Williamsport, PA; Catherine Lincoln, DO, Sayre, PA; Sean Perrin, DO, Lancaster, PA; Molly Whittam, DO, Sayre, PA. Are there any other nominations for POFPS trustees? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. I will entertain a motion to elect the 6 nominees for a term of 4 years. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor vote aye. Against vote nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations to all of them. I now yield the podium to Christine Rohanna, DO.
We will conclude nominations with the office of POFPS President. The nominating committee offers the name of Jacqueline Weaver Agostoni, DO of Pittsburgh. Are there any other nominations for president? Hearing none, nominations for president are now closed. I'll entertain a motion to elect Dr. Weaver Agostoni as POFPS President for a term of 2 years. Motion? Second? Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye. Any against, vote nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations, Dr. Weaver.
Me again. Okay. All right. So I believe that we are now doing Dr. Kessler and reciting the oath. Okay.
I have the privilege of installing the new president, and although I don't have to do the oath, it's Dr. Augustine Weaver, so that you get to do the oath. So, yep, well, I'm going to recite it and you're going to repeat after me. All right, please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Jackie Weaver Agostoni,
Do solemnly swear as president
do solemnly swear as president
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physicians Society,
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physicians Society,
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession,
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession,
to ensure the continuance of our profession
to ensure the continuance of our profession
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
and keep me steadfast
and keep me steadfast
in the due performance of this my pledge
in the due performance of this my pledge
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
So help me God.
Help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Girl could get used to that. All right. Before we install the rest of the officers and trustees, I did want to formally thank my predecessor and friend, Dr. Pete Biddy, who again, due to his work and national obligations, had to resign the POFPS presidency last year. And put me into this role. We did award him his presidential medal at our board meeting yesterday because he was unable to attend this meeting today. So I just wanted to formally acknowledge and thank Dr. Biddy for his efforts for this organization and ongoing assistance and membership. All right. So now if Dr. Rohanna and Dr. Wilson can join me on the stage to be installed as officers. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Christine
Rohanna,
Solemnly swear as a board officer
Do solemnly swear as a board officer
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physicians Society,
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physician Society,
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession
and to ensure the continuance of our profession
and to ensure the continuance of our profession
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
and keep me steadfast
and keep me steadfast
in the due performance of this my pledge
in the due performance of this my pledge
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Doctors Rohanna and Wilson. I look forward to continue working with you. Next, we will install the new trustee members. Can all of the newly elected trustees, including the resident trustee Bridget Smith Dio from St. Luke's Rural Family Residency and student trustee Sunmin Kim from PCOM, join me on stage or virtually? What's that? Yeah, everybody. There's some more. Raise your right hands and repeat after me, please. I state your name.
I, Sean Ryan,
Do solemnly swear as a board officer
do solemnly swear as a board officer
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
to uphold the Constitution and bylaws
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physician Society,
of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Family Physician Society,
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to put forth effort, time, and diligence
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession
to promote the tenets of the osteopathic profession
and to ensure the continuance of our profession
and to ensure the continuance of our profession
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
for those osteopathic physicians who will follow us,
and keep me steadfast
and keep me steadfast
in the due performance of this my pledge
in the due performance of this my pledge
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
as an elected officer of the POFPS.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. So fellow POFPS members, it is my honor to present to you the newly elected POFPS officers and trustees. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you to everyone. There is no old business to discuss. Is there anything else for the new business? All right, hearing none, new business is closed without objection by acclamation. Is there anything for the good of the order? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Seconded. Excellent. The motion carries. This now concludes our annual business meeting. As a reminder to all attendees and families, there's a reception tonight in the lobby just outside these doors from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. I am going to Hershey Park to join my family for part of this afternoon, so I won't see you there, but please come find me if you have anything else you want to chat about. Others of our board members will be there with you this evening. Please continue to enjoy the CME Symposium. Education will resume at 2:15, and we look forward to seeing all of you in person at the, or remote, in the POFPS CME Symposium in Hershey. We're changing the dates, we think, for next year. So as an early heads up, we're thinking August 8th to the 10th, which will not be the very first weekend in August, but the second. And that is because another conference moved their meeting dates to conflict with ours. And it's the big recruitment fair for the year for residency programs. So several of us need to also be in Kansas City. So the board has motioned to switch the dates to August 8th to the 10th. So I'm putting that out there now so people can plan ahead in 2025. And that's it. Thank you all for coming.